There's a country in the heart of Central Asia that's bigger than Western Europe, yet most people can't name a single place in it. And if you skip it, you're missing landscapes so surreal they look computer-generated and a history so deep it predates the Silk Road. In this video, we'll first explore some mind-blowing facts about Kazakhstan that most travelers overlook, and then we'll take you to the most stunning and mysterious locations across the country, one by one. But trust me, the deeper we go, the wilder it gets. Kazakhstan isn't just big, it's colossal. We're talking about the 9th largest country in the world. To put that in perspective, it stretches over 2.7 million square kilometers. That's nearly 1.05 million square miles, bigger than all of Western Europe combined. But here's the wild part. Despite its size, Kazakhstan has one of the lowest population densities on Earth. Just a handful of people per square kilometer. That means endless open landscapes, untouched wilderness, and silence so deep it echoes. And that silence hides stories you've probably never heard. Let's start in space. Kazakhstan is home to Baikonur Cosmodrome, the world's first and largest spaceport. This is where Yuri Gagarin launched into orbit in 1961, becoming the first human in space. And yes, it's still in use today. Rockets still blast off from this remote patch of desert, heading straight into the stars. But while Kazakhstan looks to the future, its past runs even deeper. Somewhere in its vast steppe lies the Golden Man, a Scythian warrior buried over 2,000 years ago in full gold armor. He was discovered in 1969 near a burial mound called Issyk. To this day, no one knows his true name, but he became a symbol of Kazakhstan's ancient power. His armor, crafted from over 4,000 golden pieces. And speaking of ancient, have you ever heard of the Saka people? These nomadic tribes once ruled the steppes, fierce warriors, skilled horsemen, and possibly some of the earliest users of tattoo art. In fact, archaeologists discovered well-preserved Saka mummies, complete with elaborate tattoos, frozen for centuries in permafrost. Still not convinced this place is special? Let's talk about a river that flows backwards. In the northeast, the Irtysh River begins in China, flows through Kazakhstan, and then, unexpectedly, curves northward into Siberia. Instead of heading toward a warm sea like most rivers, eventually it reaches the Arctic Ocean via the Ob River. And the landscapes? They're extreme. Kazakhstan has 7 different climate zones, from subtropical deserts to alpine tundra. In summer, temperatures in the south can hit 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit. In winter, parts of the north drop below -40. Then, there's Lake Balkhash, half saltwater, half freshwater. One single body of water, two completely different ecosystems. Scientists still don't fully understand how this is possible, but it exists right here. And if that doesn't mess with your sense of logic, try this. Kazakhstan has a sunken sea, once the fourth largest lake in the world. The Aral Sea is now mostly a graveyard of ships, stranded in desert sand. Due to Soviet irrigation projects, the water evaporated. What remains are salt flats, rusting boats, and an environmental disaster so visible you can see it from space. And yet, despite all these extremes, Kazakhstan is full of paradoxes. It's where nomadic heritage and futuristic architecture exist side by side. In cities like Astana, you'll find golden towers, glass pyramids, and buildings shaped like tulips, UFOs, even giant tents, all surrounded by a flat, empty steppe that stretches to the horizon. But outside the cities, the nomadic soul is still alive. Families still live in yurts, traditional round tents, especially during summer migration seasons. You might see them riding Akal horses, a legendary Central Asian breed known for their metallic golden sheen. No joke, these horses literally shimmer in the sunlight. And if you're wondering how old these traditions are, here's something to chew on. Historians believe that the domestication of the horse may have first happened in this region. Evidence found near Botai village suggests people here were riding and milking horses over 5,500 years ago. Kazakhstan also has one of the largest reserves of uranium on Earth. In fact, it's the world's top uranium producer, powering nuclear energy around the globe. Beneath its barren plains lies a mineral wealth that's anything but empty. But perhaps the most astonishing thing? Kazakhstan is home to a giant geoglyph, the Turgai, swastika, and other massive earthworks, so old and so large, they can only be fully seen from space. No one knows exactly who made them or why. Some date back over 8,000 years. It's like Kazakhstan has its own Nazca lines, but almost no one talks about them. And if you're thinking this country can't surprise you anymore, think again. One of the most active meteorite impact zones in the world is here too. In the Karaganda region, you'll find craters and iron fragments from space, scattered across the land. This is Kazakhstan, a land of contradictions, of silence and explosion. of spaceports and sacred mounds, of golden warriors and vanishing seas. And we've only scratched the surface. Now that you've seen the hidden side of Kazakhstan, it's time to go deeper into the real wonders, because what comes next will take your breath away. Now the journey begins, deep in western Kazakhstan, in a place that doesn't look like Earth. The Aktau Mountains, hidden inside Altyn-Emel National Park, are like pages torn from a prehistoric storybook. But here's the twist. You're not walking on soil. You're walking on fossilized seabeds from 60 million years ago. Layered hills ripple across the desert in surreal bands of red, yellow, blue, and chalky white. They look painted, but they're reel-formed by compressed clay, ash, and minerals exposed by wind and time. Some say they resemble Utah's Badlands, others say Mars. Either way, it's jaw-dropping. And the silence? Deafening. No cities, no roads, no crowds, just the wind echoing through a forgotten world. But look closely. These cliffs aren't just beautiful. They're ancient graves of long-extinct creatures. Fossilized turtles, crocodiles, and even rhino bones have been discovered here. Imagine hiking through a kaleidoscope of color and suddenly realizing you're stepping over the past. And just when you think it can't get stranger, the landscape transforms again. Because a few hours west of here, the colors vanish and everything turns blue, endless, open blue. From painted mountains to painted skies, now we're standing at the edge of the largest enclosed body of water on Earth, the Caspian Sea. It stretches over 370,000 square kilometers. That's more than 143,000 square miles, making it bigger than Germany and the Netherlands combined. But here's the part no one talks about. This isn't technically a sea. It's a giant saltwater lake, surrounded by desert cliffs, windswept plateaus, and haunting silence. There are no waves crashing like in the ocean, just an eerie stillness that feels like time stopped. And yet, even here, there's life. From Aktau, Kazakhstan's westernmost city, you can walk along rocky shores where fossils, coral fragments, and oil-streaked stones lie scattered. One moment, you're sunbathing on an empty beach. The next, you're looking at ancient rock carvings just meters away. It's wild, but below the surface, a whole different world. The Caspian hides rich oil fields, endangered Caspian seals, and migratory flamingos that sometimes gather in pink flocks, so dense they look like clouds skimming the horizon. Still, this calm is deceptive, because farther inland, the water disappears completely, and what's left behind is pure tragedy. This used to be an ocean of life. Now, it's a cemetery of ships. Once the fourth largest lake in the world, the Aral Sea covered over 68,000 square kilometers, around 26,000 square miles. Today, it's mostly dust. Decades of Soviet irrigation projects diverted the rivers that fed it, and the sea simply disappeared. What's left behind is apocalyptic. Skeletons of rusted ships marooned in sand, fishing towns abandoned hundreds of kilometers from water, and air thick with toxic salt storms. In Aralsk, old harbor cranes still stand, but the sea is now over 100 kilometers, more than 60 miles away. The fishermen never moved. The water did. And yet, somehow, it's beautiful. The silence, the cracked earth, the echoes of what once was, it all makes the Aral Sea one of the most haunting places on Earth. But as we head south, the landscape starts to shift again. The air grows warmer, the food gets spicier, and we enter one of Kazakhstan's most vibrant southern cities. Shymkent is a surprise. You expect a dusty steppe town. What you find is energy. With over 1 million residents, it's Kazakhstan's third largest city and one of its oldest. But this place doesn't feel old. It feels alive. Streets buzz with chatter. Open-air markets overflow with ripe fruit, and the scent of grilled shashlik hangs in the air like a promise. Shymkent is a crossroads city, a place where cultures, languages, and histories collide. Once a key stop on the Silk Road, its legacy is still present. In the mosaic of faces, the fabrics sold by merchants, the food spiced with flavors from all directions. And unlike the more polished capitals, Shymkent keeps it real. People here are warm, straightforward, and welcoming. It's the kind of place where you might be invited to tea by a stranger and leave 2 hours later full of laughter, lamb, and stories. But just outside this vibrant city lies something older, much older. Two sacred sites that have shaped Kazakhstan's spiritual identity for centuries. The wind is dry, the land is flat, and rising from the dust like a mirage stands a humble but powerful structure, the Mausoleum of Arystan Bab. Arystan Bab was a legendary Sufi mystic, believed to have lived for over 400 years. While the details are unclear, the reverence is not. For centuries, people have journeyed here to seek his blessing, some hoping for healing, others for clarity, and many simply to honor the past. The mausoleum itself has been rebuilt several times since the 12th century, but its heart remains unchanged. Inside, visitors light candles, whisper prayers, and walk slowly across the cool stone floors. You can feel the weight of history here, not in grand displays, but in stillness. But there's also a belief, a local tradition. It says that if you try to visit the more famous tomb of Khoja Ahmed Yasawi in Turkestan without first stopping here, your path will be blocked by weather, flat tires, or strange coincidences. It's called the blessing sequence, and even skeptics tend to respect it. So we begin here, as many pilgrims have for centuries. And now that we've paid our respects, the road opens to one of the most iconic spiritual landmarks in Central Asia. You see it long before you arrive. A massive turquoise dome rising from the flat steppe, shimmering in the desert light. This is the Mausoleum of Khoja Ahmed Yasawi, a monument not just of stone and tile, but of soul and story. Built in the late 14th century by the conqueror Tamerlane, the mausoleum is one of the largest surviving examples of Timurid architecture, but its real power lies in who rests inside. Khoja Ahmed Yasawi, a revered Sufi poet and teacher who helped shape spiritual life across Central Asia. Inside, the scale is overwhelming. The walls rise nearly 40 meters, that's about 130 feet, and in the center stands a gigantic bronze cauldron, said to be the largest of its kind. It once held water used for purification rituals, and now stands as a symbol of unity and blessing. Pilgrims walk the perimeter. Some pray, some cry. Others just breathe it in. The scent of incense, the quiet hum of devotion, the echo of footsteps in stone halls. It's a place of peace, of history, and of spiritual gravity. But now, it's time to trade silence for birdsong and step into Kazakhstan's oldest nature reserve. Kazakhstan may be known for vast dry steppe, but this place rewrites the script. Welcome to Aksu-Zhabagly, the country's oldest nature reserve. founded in 1926. Nestled at the western edge of the Tian Shan Mountains, this protected area is bursting with wildflowers, waterfalls, snow-capped peaks, and wildlife that still roams free. It covers around 1,300 square kilometers. That's more than 500 square miles. And the biodiversity is off the charts. Lynx, ibex, golden eagles, marmots, and the elusive snow leopard all call this place home. In spring, the meadows explode in color with over 1,500 species of plants, including wild tulips believed to be the ancestors of those in Dutch gardens. But the landscape changes fast here. You'll hike through red rock canyons, across alpine plateaus, then suddenly find yourself in thick pine forest. It feels like walking through different continents, all in one day. This is where nature speaks, loudly. No phone signal, no buildings, just wind, wings, and waterfalls. And as we leave the mountains behind, the road leads east toward the cultural heart of Kazakhstan. If cities could flirt, Almaty would be the master. Nestled at the foot of the Aktau Mountains, Almaty is Kazakhstan's former capital and still its beating cultural heart. You get European cafes and Central Asian bazaars, leafy boulevards and mountain trails, all wrapped in a vibe that's calm, confident, and curious. It's a place of contrasts. One street feels like Vienna, the next like Tashkent. There are Soviet mosaics, glass skyscrapers, golden domes, and a cable car leading straight to the clouds. But what makes Almaty special is its rhythm. Wake up with mountain air. Grab fresh borsaki, fried dough, and kumis, fermented mare's milk. Wander through Green Bazaar, then sip espresso in a bookstore cafe. And just when you think the city has revealed itself, it surprises you again. Because the real magic of Almaty isn't always in the streets. It's above them. Just a 30-minute drive away lies a place where you can see the city below, wrapped in clouds and snow. You don't expect to find a world-class ski resort in Kazakhstan. But then again, Kazakhstan isn't what anyone expects. Shymbulak is perched at 2,200 meters. That's over 7,200 feet above sea level. And it's only a short drive or cable car ride from downtown Almaty. Suddenly, you leave city traffic behind and enter a different world. Clean air, snow-dusted peaks, and that crisp silence only altitude brings. In winter, it's a full ski paradise. Wide runs, fresh powder, and panoramic views of the Tian Shan Mountains. The slopes rise to 3,200 meters, about 10,500 feet, and in the distance, you can sometimes glimpse China. But Shymbulak isn't just for skiers. In summer, the green valleys bloom with wildflowers, and the trails open up to hikers, photographers, and paragliders. And as the sun sets, the mountains turn gold. It's unforgettable. But now, it's time to descend, because waiting in the rocky cliffs north of Almaty is something much older than ski lifts or cities, etched into stone, whispered through time. These cliffs don't just rise from the earth, they speak. About 120 kilometers, roughly 75 miles, northwest of Almaty, you'll find the Tamgaly-Tas Petroglyphs, a mysterious collection of rock carvings overlooking the Ili River. Some are nearly 1,000 years old, and they're unlike anything else in the country. What makes them truly unique? They're Buddhist. Gigantic depictions of Buddha, mantras in Tibetan script, and meditative symbols are etched directly into the cliff face. How did they get here? Most likely in the 17th century, left by wandering Buddhist monks or pilgrims crossing the steppe. But there's more. Scattered around are older carvings, showing warriors, animals, hunting scenes, and ancient rituals. Historians believe the site was considered sacred long before the Buddhists arrived. And yet, it's quiet. You might stand there for an hour and see no one. Just the wind brushing the reeds and the slow current of the Ili below. It's as if the past refuses to fade here. It just watches. But from these sacred stones, we now head east into landscapes that look like illusions. This isn't just a par, it's a planet unto itself. Covering over 4,600 square kilometers, that's nearly 1,800 square miles, Altyn-Emel National Park is one of Kazakhstan's most surreal and diverse landscapes. Here, deserts meet mountains, and nothing looks like it belongs. The most famous feature? The Singing Dune, a massive sand dune over 150 meters tall, nearly 500 feet, that hums when the wind hits it just right. Scientists call it aerodynamic resonance. Locals say the dune sings when the spirits are pleased. Either way, it sounds like a low, eerie vibration from the earth itself. But that's just the beginning. In the Aktau and Aktau Mountains, colorful badlands stretch across the horizon like spilled paint. You'll see white cliffs striped with red, purple, yellow, and blue. These hills are millions of years old, layered with ancient fossils and silent stories. Wild goitered gazelles, onagers, and even snow leopards roam the more remote areas. And then, suddenly, the desert gives way to water, vast, shimmering, and mysterious. Because just northeast of here lies a massive inland sea, one that's half salt, half fresh. You're standing on the shore of a paradox. Lake Balkhash is one of the largest lakes in Asia, stretching over 600 kilometers long, or roughly 370 miles. But here's the catch. The western half is freshwater, while the eastern half is saltwater. Yes, one lake. Two different ecosystems. No other body of water on Earth behaves quite like this. Scientists are still studying how it works. Some theories point to the narrow strait in the middle, which restricts the natural mixing of waters. Others say it's due to the different rivers feeding each side, but no one knows for sure. Fishermen still work these waters. Pelicans drift across the surface, and in the summer heat, the sky and water melt together into a mirror. But the lake is shrinking, slowly. Like the Aral Sea, it's vulnerable to irrigation and climate shifts. The future of Balkhash isn't guaranteed, which makes seeing it now even more important. And nearby, just beyond the lake's northern edge, something strange rises from the steppe. A forgotten mountain, a geological anomaly, and a place few travelers ever reach. In the middle of flat nothingness, it appears like the spine of some ancient creature rising from the earth. Bektau-Ata is not your typical mountain. It's not part of a range. It just erupts out of nowhere in the middle of the Kazakh steppe. A granite outcrop spanning about 4,000 hectares, 15 square miles, with jagged cliffs, natural caves, and alien-like rock domes. Climbing Bektau-Ata feels like walking on the surface of the moon. The granite is smooth in places, fractured in others, worn down by wind and centuries of silence. In spring, desert flowers bloom in cracks, adding bursts of color to the pale rock. At sunrise or sunset, the whole massif glows pink and gold, like it's on fire from within. Few people come here. There are no roads, no tour buses, just sky, stone, and story. And from this remote outpost, we now return south toward alpine air, turquoise lakes, and mountain reflections. High in the northern Tian Shan Mountains, where pine trees meet clouds, lie the shimmering jewels of Kazakhstan, the Kolsai Lakes. There are 3 in total, stacked like a secret staircase into the sky. The first lake is accessible by car, and it's breathtaking. Glassy blue-green water surrounded by fir forests and snow-capped peaks. The second lake? You'll need to hike. And the third? Only for the truly adventurous, perched near the border with Kyrgyzstan. Locals call them the pearls of the northern Tian Shan. These lakes sit at altitudes of 1,800 to 2,800 meters. That's between 5,900 and 9,200 feet, and the water stays icy cold year-round. But on a sunny day, the reflections of the mountains are so perfect, it's hard to tell where land ends and sky begins. And if you think that's magical, wait until you see what's hidden just over the ridge. Because next, we visit a sunken forest, a ghostly underwater world frozen in time. At first glance, it looks like a painting. Then you realize it's real. But what you're seeing should be impossible. Lake Kaindy is unlike any other lake on Earth. Formed by a massive limestone landslide after an earthquake in 1911, the valley was dammed, and water slowly flooded a spruce forest. What remains today is a haunting spectacle. Dozens of dead tree trunks rising straight from the turquoise surface, like ghostly spires reaching for the sky. But dive below, and the surprise deepens. The entire forest is still intact underwater. Branches, needles, even textures preserved in the icy water, as if frozen in time. It's a favorite among adventurous divers and surreal landscape photographers. Located at 2,000 meters above sea level, around 6,600 feet, the air is fresh, the trails are quiet, and the lake's glow shifts color depending on the light. From emerald to icy blue, every glance reveals something new. And while Kaindy is peaceful now, it's the silence after chaos. A reminder that beauty sometimes grows from catastrophe. But now we head east, toward cliffs that never stop crumbling, toward winds that carve entire canyons. You've heard of the Grand Canyon, but have you heard of its fiery twin in Central Asia? Just 200 kilometers east of Almaty, about 125 miles, lies Charyn Canyon, a geological marvel stretching for 154 kilometers, around 95 miles, along the Charyn River. With red sandstone cliffs, towering spires, and valleys that twist like melted wax, it looks like it belongs on another planet. The most famous part? The Valley of Castles, where wind and rain sculpted the rock into fortress-like shapes. Walk among them at sunset, and you'll swear you're in a fantasy movie set. But this place isn't just about the view. It's about feeling small, standing at the base of a 300-meter cliff, nearly 1,000 feet, hearing nothing but the rustle of desert grass and the cry of distant birds. The canyon is over 12 million years old, and yet it still feels alive. The river carves it deeper each year, and hikers discover new shapes with every visit. But now we leave the wild and fly north across the steppe to where steel and glass rise from the grasslands, a city like no other. It looks like the future landed in the middle of nowhere. Astana, also known as Nur-Sultan, is Kazakhstan's ambitious and gleaming capital, born from bold vision and endless space. Built on the flat steppe, this city didn't grow over time. It exploded into existence, designed from scratch in the late 1990s. And it shows. The skyline is a surreal mix. Golden towers, twisted glass domes, a pyramid of peace, and the iconic Bayturek Tower, a symbol of rebirth that rises 97 meters, about 318 feet, into the sky. From the top, you get panoramic views of a city that seems to never end, until it suddenly does, fading into grasslands. Winters here are brutal. Temperatures can drop below -40, but the city never sleeps. Cafes stay warm, art galleries stay open, and under the snow-covered streets, life pulses. Astana is more than a capital. It's a statement, a declaration that Kazakhstan is looking forward, even as it honors its past. And just a few hours away lies one final wonder, a place where lakes, forests, and fairy tale peaks collide. It's called the Kazakh Switzerland, and for good reason. Borovo, also known as Burabay National Park, is a hidden gem tucked away in northern Kazakhstan. It's a landscape of pine forests, granite mountains, and deep blue lakes, rising unexpectedly from the flat steppe like a forgotten dream. And it's not just beautiful, it's mythical. Legends say that gods once lived here, and the land still holds their power. One of the most iconic sights is Okzetbes, a lone granite rock rising from the center of a lake. Its name means unreachable by arrow, and locals will tell you stories of impossible love, lost warriors, and spiritual tests woven into its shape. You can hike along misty forest trails, kayak through glassy waters, or just sit quietly and let the silence speak. The air smells like pine and moss. Birds echo between cliffs, and in the golden hour, the light turns everything to magic. With over 80 lakes in the region, each with its own color, shape, and legend, Borovo feels like an enchanted pocket of the earth, untouched, unhurried, and unforgettable. This is where we end our journey. From the canyons of fire to sunken forests, from ancient mausoleums to cities that weren't supposed to exist, Kazakhstan isn't a single story. It's 1,000 different worlds stitched together by silence, sky, and time. It's a land where you can watch rockets rise and glaciers melt, where Buddhist prayers are carved into stone cliffs and deserts hum when no one's around to hear them. And yet, most people still skip it. They fly over it, scroll past it, never realizing what they've missed. But now, you've seen it. And maybe, like the dunes that sing or the lake that remembers its trees, Kazakhstan has left something behind in you too.